This gentleman here is named Ash Ali. He was one of my first students that I remember that came into the training program about 3 years ago when I launched the company. And this guy has had immaculate results. And I have a lot of respect for him. I love all of my students, whether they've been with me for 3 years, 1 year, 1 month, 1 week, 1 day, it doesn't matter. But I love interviewing people like this guy, because he literally went from a decent income as a salesperson to now a life-changing income for him and his family for many, many years to come, generations to come as well. Ash, nice to meet you. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your background and what do you sell now? I think you sell like coaching services, right?
Right, exactly. Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Ash. I'm out of the Midwest Chicago area. And what I sell right now is basically it's coaching, and it's helping people, make more money online. Yeah.
Yeah. So you sell like a business opportunity. You help people. It's like direct sales. You help people, leave their jobs, make more money, have more time with their family. And I know you're making a lot of money. I know now you now make close to $400,000 a year in commissions. 1099 rep. That is crazy. But I want to go back to where it all started for you. So tell us your background. Like, how many years ago did you get in sales?
Yeah.
And what did you first start selling?
Okay. I'll take you back. I mean, I came on like in 1989 is when I first started doing door-to-door sales. A little bit like you did. You were selling alarms and home security systems. I was selling business consulting services. So we walked into businesses, and this is like small and medium-sized company, and in Montreal in Canada, and where you spoke French. So I had to learn French and English, same thing. So my French is not as good as now because I live in Chicago. But door-to-door sales, walked in the old way. Hey, my name is Ash Ali. I'm with this and this company, and automatically they're saying not interested. I didn't even give them what we do yet. I just said my name and the name of the company.
Sure.
And, no, thanks. Just leave your brochure here.
Yeah.
And we were forced to, do these calls. So I did that for about 4 years.
Yeah.
And then I was doing pretty well. I got promoted to the home office. So they transferred me down to Chicago, where I was now kind of like a senior manager, coaching and training other reps that were doing what I used to do. So I'd get on the phone with them. I say, okay, tell them this. I'd kind of like do echo training. We call echo. Say, okay, tell them this, and I could hear what the client. So that's been my background. But yeah, I mean, I can get more into it. But
well, so you started selling coaching services or selling like business consulting services. You're using kind of this old method. What was selling like for you that first year? And be real with everybody. I know you're a big shot now, you make a ton of money, but what was it like for you your first year using those, what we would call traditional selling techniques that you were learning? It
was Monday mornings was like, I just hated it. I go, oh man, another Monday morning, because most of our leads that those appointments were set by our telemarketer. In those days we had telemarketers. They didn't have that. So I would say, oh man. And most of them were like, they didn't even know I was coming to see the business. Because who are you? I go, well, I think my home office called you to set up no, nobody called or whatever. So it was very, typical day in the morning. I would get up at 6, get out in the field by 7:30, and they would actually clock you to call in from where you were to have your first appointment. You had to clock in. They say, make sure you call from your appointment so we know you're there. So it was more like a job that was not like working from home or have that flexibility in those days.
Sure.
So it was really, tough in those days. But
so it was rough. You're getting a lot of rejection. You were getting a lot of rejections.
I mean, thick skin. They kept teaching you got to have thick skin. Just take it like a water off a duck's bath. Those kind of things we use. Yeah.
So the old school, like work more.
I still have some of those old books back there.
Work more, hustle more. You got to have thick skin. How did that make you feel, having to go through that daily grind of having all those objections and rejection all the time because of the way you were taught how to sell?
I didn't know any better. I figured that, I just got to toughen it out. And when you're in that position, you just do it. You just get disciplined. And then I was working on getting myself in the door with clients, and I would force in. One time, Jeremy, I never told you this, but I actually had the cops call on me because I couldn't tell the business employee there what I was doing, because it was a confidential service we were offering, because consulting is confidential. Sometimes you were bonded. So I said, hey, I can't tell you. I got to talk to the owner first. Well, you won't be able to see him. I said, okay, have a good day. And I just left. So the guy called the cops, and I was calling the next business, and the cops come in there and go, okay, hey, you got to come tell us what's this all about. So it was a weird situation.
Yeah, what's going on? Now, I know you started making some money. I think you got up to, like, even with a thick skin, you know, welcome, Brian, welcome, Dale. You started even making like $6,000, $7,000 a month, even some months, $8,000 a month. So, you know, it's close to six figures. But how many hours were you working a day to even do that grind?
Yeah, you'd have to work, 60, 65 Saturday mornings even to do my admin work, to follow up and do reports for the company.
So here you are, you're busting your butt. You're going through all this rejection. You don't know what you don't know. You just figured that that's just the way you have to do it. You have to go through the numbers game to make a sale here or there. Mm-hmm. What started you, like, how did you find us? Like, how did you find NEPQ, and like what happened? Like what caused you to be like, you know what, maybe the way I'm selling is not getting me where I want to go?
Well, as you know, I'm always an avid of learning, and I'm always looking for ways to improve myself. That's been, my training. That's what we would teach our clients. Hey, look for ways to improve your business. So I had to eat my own medicine. And so I said, when I was going through, when the company laid me off because they were downsizing, so I started looking online, and then I got into this company that did coaching on the phone. And then that's how I met you. I mean, you were also one of the top producers there, and you were actually training the whole team and that company. Yeah.
So you started working, you got a job with a company who I was actually training at that time. It was my last job that I had, right? So I was the top producer there. I was making like $2.4 million a year in straight commissions. And they also had me train people. This was right before, this was a few years, like a year or so before I started the company. And so you came in there and I started training you. So you started learning NEPQ. What started changing for you even in the first few months when you started to learn those advanced skills, those advanced questions?
I started to slow down more. I noticed that the old school way was all this hype and everything. You got to have confidence, shoulders back and be aggressive. I started to kind of, what you taught me was very powerful, was to really slow down your cadence, understand, listen more than just keep talking. And that was the big takeaway for me. The game changer was that I had to slow down. I'm a visual type of person, so I tend to speak fast. And that actually hurt because I was thinking I can talk fast and make lots of sales, right? But it didn't work.
You were taught, like, if you were excited about the product or service, somehow your prospects are going to be excited about the product or service. But what was the reality of that?
It didn't work. Treading water when you do that, because you're thinking you're ahead by saying some nice sentences and nice words, but they're just like in one ear out.
You're triggering sales resistance automatically. So you started learning NEPQ. You started to learn situation questions to find out their present situation. You started learning problem awareness questions to find out their problems and really the root cause of the problems, like going deeper, helping them go deeper in their own mind with problems they didn't even think they had, and then how those problems were affecting them even down emotionally. What type of results did you start getting at that point compared to before you went through the training?
Yeah, so my conversions, this is consulting I'm talking, not about this, but before I got into this, I was closing 1 out of maybe 10, 1 out of 15. And I was taking a lot of leads back then. I had to hustle more, work longer hours. So I was, from that, once I started to do this, it went up to like 1 out of 5. So you basically tripled, like overnight tripled your numbers. I want to say, like, the company I was training, because I remember your stats, you went from making, and you were doing decent in there. You're making like $7-8 grand a month in that company. And then when I started training you in NEPQ and you started learning those questions, you started averaging over $35,000 a month in commissions. It was
what was your biggest month? You had a big month there too.
$55,000.
Now that's not $55,000 in sales. That's $55,000 in 1 month in commissions paid.
In commissions, yeah.
Okay.
So that's in commissions. And I'll tell you the biggest reason for that was the fact that I was asking the questions in a way where the client felt relaxed. It wasn't like I was interrogating them. And one of the things you taught me was that you have to slow down and really listen to their answer and spin off of that. And this is where that one-on-one training really helped me, because it's not just having the script, because the client can throw you off. I mean, he's supposed to say this, but they don't, right? They go off to a different tangent. Yeah. So the training for me, like having that communication with you constantly really made a big difference. But,
well, and I remember, and I forgot to even bring that up. So you got into like our NEPQ sales training program. Your income and sales doubled. You went from making like $7,000 a month to 14, 15 grand a month. And then a few months later, you're like, hey, Jeremy, where can I get more advanced training? Because I've written down a script. I'm not so sure that some of these questions are right for what I sell. Can you train me? And so you got involved in our advanced inner circle program, where we wrote out your sales structures for you, tied in NEPQ to your industry, what you sell specifically. We break down your recorded calls so we can analyze the tonality and show you what you're doing good, show you what you had to change, and then role played like every single week. And then your income, from what I remember, went from like 14, 15 grand a month on average to then boom, 35, more than doubled again. I mean,
it was not just selling more people, but it was increasing my revenue per client. I was selling higher packages, and that made a difference. Not just taking the sale at they would say, can I just get this package? And I knew that they needed a better product, because it's like, if somebody needs an appendix operation, you're not going to give them an appendix.
You're not going to get them the cheapest procedure, right? You want to get them the one that actually solves the problem they have. Because I remember in that company that I was training you in, you were selling a lot of $2,000 products and $3,000 and $5,000. And then when you started learning NEPQ, your DPL, which is dollar per lead in that space, went up significantly. Then you started selling $10,000 and $15,000 and $25,000 products.
Right. And I'll tell you, it's not just more income, Jeremy, that people are looking for here. It's more time. Like I'm literally home right now, and sales are being made. Because I have automation system now, and it's 30 hours a week, maybe 25 hours a week sometimes.
That's really the most important thing. Tell us how that's possible. So you went from working 60 hours a week, just hustling. The gurus tell you, like, you just got to work more, you got to hustle more, you got to call more leads. But doing that way, using those old school techniques, triggering sales resistance. Hi, my name is, I'm with XYZ company. And the reason why I'm calling you today, sir, click, going through the numbers was only getting you like to this, you're like capped. And so you learn NEPQ, your hours drop in half, right? Your income, I mean, let's be real, more than 4x, almost 5x. So you went from making about $90,000 a year, which is still a good income, don't get me wrong. But now you make over $400,000 a year selling the same thing. Like some people, that's like, how is that even possible? Is he just getting like special leads more than everybody else in the company? Why is that possible?
It's because you have a system in place. You know what to say when you get on the phone. And when I wake up in the morning, I know that there's a high probability the people I'm going to talk to, I can handle the situation. I know exactly what to say. And even now you see me talking, it wasn't like this as slow. I was like very fast. I know what to say. I hesitate on purpose. And then this is, an intentional pause, we call it. This is what eliminates the objection, that before it even comes up, the client feel like so relaxed. They know I'm a trusted authority. They know that what I'm going to offer them is going to make sense. And the biggest question that I like was the consequent question you taught. I was like floored when I heard that. My old manager would say, never ask them that, saying, what if it doesn't work? I mean, why would you want to ask them that? Keep them positive, right? But that was a game changer for me when I learned the consequence questions.
Let's talk about that. What's one question that you ask your prospects that helps build urgency for them to purchase now rather than down the road? What's one question? You talk about consequence questions. Give us an example with what you sell.
The biggest one is once you have I've got them to a point where they want some change.
Yeah.
They want to change that, like, from the buyer awareness question, the solution. Yeah. Once I got to that point, I shift now to, and this is great, guys, take notes on this, is you got to do a little takeaway, because you can always keep going and saying, yeah, we can get you, don't go there. But the biggest one is, let me ask you a question. What if things don't change, John? I mean, if you continue doing what you're doing right now, keep getting the same results over, let's say, the next 5, 10, 15 years. And the longer the period I give is the higher the ticket, the price I'm selling. If I'm selling something like a low ticket, I might say, what's going to happen if nothing changes over the next 2 months? But the higher the ticket the product is I'm marketing or selling, the longer the period of time. So they look back and go, yeah, by the time I'm 65, because I always tell them, listen, there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. You can always stay with where you're at. Yeah.
So you're detached from the sale, and they feel that, like, you don't have to solve you don't have to solve your problems. You can stay where you're at for sure.
Yeah.
Right. So when you detach, they're like, no, I didn't mean that. Right. So, especially with what you sell, because you're selling like direct sales or business opportunities, you're selling like training programs that teach people how to start a business online. So you're selling like online business training where they can start a business online. Right. And what are the two main problems? People want to make more money. They want to have more time. Right. Yep. So you can say, so John, what if you don't do anything about this though, and you just stay in the job another 5, 10, 15 years?
Yeah.
And they always come back, oh, no, I'm going to change. Oh, well, why is that so important to you now, though? Exactly. That probe.
Yeah. The why is
that? What does that psychologically do to people? How do they react when you ask that question?
They really think hard. They're like, I hear a pause. And when I do a follow-up, I get this, Jeremy. I never even heard the word, I need to think about it. I don't even know how to handle that objection anymore because it doesn't come up. And this is the key, folks. If you want to get good in sales, don't get good at trying to handle objections. It doesn't work. I've tried for 20 years the old way, handling objections. It's not humanly possible. You can make some money, yes, the old way, but don't even have them come up. And the way what I call objection prevention is to ask a question, what Jeremy just said. He says, what are you going to do if things don't change? I mean, it's okay with me, but I mean, are you okay with that? And they say, no. So what
are some possible ramifications if you don't do anything about this? So it builds urgency in the sale. So Ash hit it right on the head. You've learned NEPQ. You've learned certain questions to ask at the right time that prevents objections from even happening in the prospect's mind.
Yep.
Typically, when our students go through our courses, that by what they tell us with our surveys, it typically reduces the objections they were getting by around 70%. Can you imagine if you were getting 70% less objections, how many more sales you'd be making right now? Because it is a myth. Let me tell you one thing. It is a myth if you are reading books and the sales trainer says the more objections you get, the more interested they are. That is, nothing could be further from the truth. Just imagine yourself how stupid that sounds, okay? Imagine all the lay down sales you got where they didn't get you any objections and they just purchased. Well, were those not easy sales? So you're telling me the more objections they get you, the more interested they are? No, it's like the data does not show that at all. The data proves 100%. This is not a myth. The data shows 100%. The more objections you get, the more likely the customer is not going to purchase what you're offering because they don't feel that you can solve their problems and get them the result of where they want to be or what they want to do from what you are telling them. It just makes common sense. The more objections you get, the less likely you are to make a sale. If that wasn't the case, you would never have any laydown sales.
Exactly.
The easy sales would just give you all the objections.
One point, Jeremy, you made, here's the thing, is detaching from the sale is critical. But what I did, this is me, my perspective, is I attached myself to their challenges, their problems. When they were to tell me, like, I need to, look at this more deeply, or if the average objection did come up, I would get attached to their issues. I said, well, that's fine, but what are you going to do if things, like you said, the consequence questions, things don't change, and you continue doing that? And that really pulled them out of their objection process into solution.
Yeah.
So they were asking me, well, how can how can you help me? And then they would ask me, it's just like you're asking a doctor, I need help. It's hurting me. And that's the position I became in. So.
Yeah, because they look at you as more of the authority figure, the trusted authority, or the expert who's going to help them solve the problems that your questions you just asked them help them realize that they actually had. Because most prospects, when you guys talk to them, don't realize they have problems. Or maybe they know about a problem, but they don't realize how bad it is or how bad it could be if they don't do anything about it. If you don't know, if you don't understand the right questions to ask, if you don't understand NEPQ, you're not pulling that out of their brain where they understand that themselves. That is the highest form of persuasion. It's called self-persuasion, where they're persuading themselves from your skilled questions rather than you trying to hunt them down, follow up with them all the time. Like, how exhausting is that? It's selling is so easy when you learn the right questions to ask to get them to persuade themselves. I love that. How has NEPQ helped you in other areas of your life? I know your wife's going through a lot of health challenges right now. How has it helped you as far as that?
Yeah, it got my time back. I mean, the biggest thing is not me making multiple six figures. Yeah, that's important. But what I think is that my time, 66, 70 hours a week to 30 hours a week. And those 30 hours a week, I'm home or anywhere I want to be with my family. So it's literally from, like, I used to get up at 4:30 in the morning. So it's my time with my family. I've been able to take her to her treatments when I have to go. I didn't have to like negotiate with the boss saying, hey, can I go? And figured out other things to get there.
Yeah, I mean, when you're selling that much, your boss lets you work from home. Your boss lets you do anything you want, have all the flexibility in the world because you're making your boss a ton of money.
Yep.
I love it. Hey, what's any advice? Like, what's your advice for everyone listening today?
I would say it's, you know, this training, it's actually costing you money if you're not using it. I'll tell you that. Because when I looked at my numbers, I said, I'm making $100,000 a year. Okay, but I don't have the scripts. I don't have that training. And every time a client says to me, I need to think about it, I'm paying, instead of Jeremy, I'm paying that owner. Because he's saying, get out. I'm not interested. So I was paying somebody anyway. So I figured I might as well invest my money and my time into training myself, because I would get the return. My ROI went like so much higher, like
100%. You know, what's the biggest thing? What's the most expensive thing we have in our lives? Our biggest expense in life is our lack of knowledge. Our biggest expense in life is our lack of knowledge, of not knowing the right sales skills and the right questions to ask at the right time in the conversation to make that type of income. So if you had not gone in the training, you'd be where at right now, 80 to 100,000 a year. Now you're up to 400,000 a year and earn commissions year after year after year. So your lack of knowledge before the training, because you had that lack of knowledge, it was costing you $300,000 a year in straight commissions because you didn't have the right skills to get to that level.
Exactly. And I'll tell you, everybody, really
big extent.
Relate this to what you're selling out there, everybody. If you're selling a product and you're walking away without engaging the client to do business with you, you're costing that client money and time, and it's costing you money and time because you didn't come prepared. And I looked at it this way, that if I'm taking somebody else's time and I'm not prepared, I'm cheating them. So
you're not solving their problems. Like, if they don't purchase from you, you're not solving their problems. They're staying in the status quo. And it's our responsibility.
Exactly. And I'll tell you this also, when I get on with you, Jeremy, or I work with people to train, it gets me better at my game when I actually am involved with my clients, because I'm walking the talk. You know, it's not like I put on a hat every morning and become the super salesman. I actually, this is me. You know, I talk to my kids like that. I said, well, what are you going to do if you don't change your grades? I mean, in the next semester, what's going to happen? They say, oh no, Dad, I'm gonna work harder. Yeah. And I don't have to tell them to go do more homework or whatever, you know. So I just ask them.
So you're using every aspect of your life.
Yeah, it does. It changes the way you communicate, and the quality of your life depends on the quality of your communication, I think.
100%.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more. Ash, hey, it was a pleasure for having you on here. I know you've got some sales calls coming up for a few minutes. I don't want to take more of your time. Thanks for being on here. We look forward to having you more in the Facebook group here and sharing your experiences and your wins that you're having like on a weekly basis. I love that you're able to work from home now. You make so much money that the boss lets you work from home. You have your flexibility. because you're making your company a lot of money. You can do whatever you want. Congratulations.
Guys, you can do it too. All right. Thanks for your.
All right, guys. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. Hey guys, if you enjoyed these, here's another you can watch right over here, right over here. Join our free Sales Revolution group. Click the link below, join us, and we're gonna help you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you real soon.